Desmond's Flicks is made possible by the incredible support from the Patreon community. If you'd like to help support the channel and keep it going, consider becoming a Patreon today. Link is in the description below. Plus, you'll gain access to awesome perks. Now let's get into the video. Superhost is the latest in a string of Shudder original films, directed by Christenson and starring Sara, Osric, Chau, Gillam, and Crampton. The film follows travel vloggers Teddy and Claire, whose subscriber count is dwindling. The duo pivot to creating viral content around their most recent Superhost, Rebecca, who wants more from the couple than a great review. I went into Superhost only having seen the trailer and was hooked by the premise alone. What I wasn't expecting was how darkly funny the film would be, which was a pleasant surprise. There were several moments that I couldn't help but laugh out loud, especially when it came to the scene-stealing performance by Gillam. I enjoyed her performance in Some Kind of Hate from 2015, but her performance in Superhost is an absolute blast. I don't want to go super in depth about the shenanigans Rebecca gets into with Teddy and Claire as to not spoil anything, but what I can say is that her chaotic energy really brings this film to a whole other level. The entire cast gels really well together, and it's fun to see genre vet Crampton round out the cast. At an hour and 24 minutes, Superhost is a lean and entertaining horror comedy that kept me entertained from beginning to end. As I was watching Superhost, I couldn't help but think of the films Creep and Creep 2. I do want to emphasize that it never feels like the film is trying to be a creep film. It's definitely its own thing. The film has that same uncomfortable, awkward vibe throughout, and there's times where I wasn't sure if I should be laughing or if I should be horrified, which adds to the overall feel of the character of Rebecca in the house being off from the get-go. The characters of Teddy and Claire feel like the stereotypical vloggers that YouTube is known for on camera. Then when the camera is turned off, their insecurities around views, dwindling subscriber count, and issues with monetization come to the surface. Claire in particular is consumed with always producing content, while Teddy genuinely enjoys making videos with his girlfriend. As a content creator myself here on YouTube, there were aspects of both characters I could relate to, especially when it comes to obsessing about subscriber count, views, staying on top of trends, and the almighty YouTube algorithm. While I had an idea of where the story was going, I was still surprised by how the events unfolded. There were some genuinely creepy moments, which are aided by the great camera work and lighting. The setting of the isolated house in the woods that appears idyllic at first, but then reveals its dark underbelly was a nice touch. I've always been a little weirded out about staying at an Airbnb because I'd hate to encounter someone as off their rocker as Rebecca is. Single location horror films are among my favorites in the genre, and Superhost does a great job of illustrating the isolation of being in a home that isn't yours out in the middle of the woods. There's also some well done kills and effects, which I was also pleasantly surprised by. While I enjoyed the film immensely, there were a couple of points where the dialogue felt a little stiff between Teddy and Claire. It never took me out of the film, but it was something that I couldn't help but notice. However, the positives far outweigh any negatives I may have for the film, especially considering it's a small indie movie. With all that said, I'm going to give Superhost an add to the collection. This film was a pleasant surprise that I wasn't expecting to enjoy as much as I did. I absolutely loved Gillam's performance, and I look forward to hopefully seeing more of her in the horror genre. Crampton, as always, was fantastic and adds an extra amount of credibility to the film. Sara and Osric Chau's performance as the overly enthusiastic YouTube vloggers was so on point, even down to the eye-rolling editing that I couldn't help but laugh. There really is a lot to enjoy about Superhost, and I highly recommend you check it out on Shudder this weekend. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more, become a Patreon supporter. Link is down in the description below. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you guys on the next video.